Tonight, Venezuela's president as a prisoner after being captured in a daring U.S. military raid. President Trump posting this image today with the caption, Nicolas Maduro on board the USS Iwo Jima.
The United States Armed Forces conducted an extraordinary military operation in the capital of Venezuela, successfully captured Maduro in the dead of night, captured along with his wife, Celia Flores, both of whom now face American justice.
Multiple explosions and low-flying aircraft were heard around 2 a.m. local time in the Venezuelan capital of Caracas, the president watching from Mar-a-Lago.
In total, more than 150 aircraft, bombers, fighters, intelligence, reconnaissance, surveillance, rotary wing were in the air last night.
For weeks now, the U.S. had been ramping up pressure on Maduro, seizing 2 U.S. oil tankers and deadly military strikes on alleged drug boat smugglers. In a new indictment, Maduro and his wife charged with drug crimes and conspiracy.
Maduro and Flores have been indicted for their campaign of deadly narco-terrorism against the United States.
Maduro accused the U.S. of mounting a months-long pressure campaign to force a regime change and to gain access to its vast oil reserves. He has also denied having any ties to the drug trade. President Trump saying the U.S. will now be running Venezuela until there can be a transition of power.
We're going to make sure it's run properly. We're going to rebuild the oil infrastructure, which will cost billions of dollars. It'll be paid for by the oil companies directly. They will be reimbursed for what they're doing, but that's going to be paid.
The administration says it didn't inform Congress of today's operation, citing fear of information leaking. Olivia Rubin.
And some Venezuelans living in different countries gathering to celebrate the news of Maduro's capture. These were the scenes in Florida, Colombia, and Peru. People waving flags, singing and dancing and chanting, "Free Venezuela." Maduro was seen by many as an authoritarian leader accused of violating human rights, saying they're glad to see him captured.
This is a moment that we have been waiting for many, many years. And this is not something that Venezuelans really wanted. I mean, I don't think we wanted to be rescued by it. We fought for many years for our freedom, and we're glad that, there's help, right?
And the action taken to capture the Venezuelan president and his wife has raised concerns on whether or not the U.S. violated international law. More than 100 people gathering today in downtown Sacramento protesting Maduro's capture. Organizers say it was part of a nationwide anti-war movement with protests in 75 cities across the U.S.
We cannot, as the American people, be allowed to be lied into another devastating war that is going to displace millions of people. People are done. In every walk of life, people are done. We don't want these wars. We don't vote for these wars.
And that was the scene in Washington, D.C. here. Crowds gathering outside the White House to protest as well. People holding signs saying hands off Venezuela and U.S. out of the Caribbean. Protesters with similar signs also gathered in New York City's Times Square outside the U.S. Army recruiting office. Other protests happen across the country in Atlanta, Chicago, Los Angeles, and San Francisco. Local leaders also responding to Maduro's capture. Senator Adam Schiff posting on social media saying in part, quote, Nicolas Maduro was a thug and an illegitimate leader of Venezuela, terrorizing and oppressing its people far too long and forcing many to leave the country. But starting a war to remove Maduro doesn't just continue Donald Trump's trampling of the Constitution. It further erodes America's standing on the world stage and risks our adversaries mirroring this brazen illegal escalation, end quote. Congressman Oliveira
I think it's
also
astounding
commenting.
that the president would take such an aggressive move unilaterally without consulting Congress. This was an unprovoked action that President Trump took. There's not an immediate national security threat from Venezuela. I support going after drug smugglers and the like, but this was an action that put our men and women at risk on another foreign country.
Meanwhile, Congressman Kevin Kiley applauding today's military action, saying on social media, quote, the United States, Venezuela, and the entire Western Hemisphere and international order are immeasurably better off with Nicolas Maduro removed from power. Today marks the end of Maduro's illegitimate rule and narco-terrorist reign and the beginning of a legal process for bringing him to justice, end quote.